year 26. There's only 7 of these bikes that are made right now, 6 here in the U.S. first reps and 1 in Canada. To give you a little bit of background, I know you guys have seen pictures of it before. Probably has some conceptions about it, but I'll give you a little bit of background, then I'll go to walk around, and then I'll get into the functionalities of the bike, how the lights and stuff work. So about 4 years ago, 3.5, 4 years ago, we said we were going to remake the police bike. And engineering, and we got with engineering, and luckily a guy named Kevin King headed up this project, and then Scott Nash, who is the vice president of our touring, asked me to come onto the project to give a motor officer perspective. We've never done that before. In the past, let's be honest, is here's electric glide, here's a road glide, make it a police bike. So they said, if we're going to redo this, we're going to redo it right. So we looked at what was a need, what was a want, and then from there, like some of the things, we said we got to have more speed. That's what we kept hearing. We have a police advisory board, and a lot of the stuff that police advisory board's been asking for years got answered on this bike. So that's kind of where the background came. It was 4.5, like I said, 3.5, 4 years in the making. As far as the testing on it, we have our normal test riders. There's nothing glamour about being a Harley test rider. If you got a pulse, if you got a driver's license, you could be a test rider. It's in Arizona, it's in Yucca, there's nothing around it. These guys ride 8 hours trying to break something. So there's nothing glamorous about it, nothing against them, but they don't have the skill that we have. So when it came, they did their test riding, and I got bought in to do all the speed verification. So the numbers and stuff I'm going to tell you, it's not coming from an engineer. I was on the bike with Race Logic hooked up to it, so we know where those numbers are at. So to kind of start with, you'll notice that this is a new model. It's called Helix, that's the code name. What all you guys are riding is called Rushmore. And Rushmore, that came out in 2014. And you notice this fairing, this style bike has been out since 23.5. So we wanted to make sure that, first of all, this bike was going to hold up. So even though this is a new police bike, this model has been out for 2 years. So it's got all the bugs worked out of it. So that myth about don't buy the first year or anything Harley, this is not the first year. Like I said, this bike's been out for 2 years. So you'll notice with the headlight and the turn signals, all the lights are integrated into the fairing. We went to a chop fender, so there's no more catching the cones and bending the fender skirting, and then the fender skirting gets bent, and then that bends the fender, and then from there, at high speeds, you get instability because the fairings, the fender's flared out. So we changed that. We went to a larger rotor. So with the larger rotor, that makes the bike set a little bit taller and a slight frame change. So the bike is going to set much taller than what you're accustomed to. We also went to premium Brembo brakes on this bike all the way around, so the braking is much better. Up here, we have what we call this the windscreen up here. In the wind tunnel, that reduced buffeting by 60%. If you're tall like my buddy over here, you're probably not going to like it. Out of all the demos we've had, this has been the #1 thing, guys wanting a taller windshield. I'm short, doesn't bother me. I also think you're riding a motorcycle, you're not in a car, you're going to get wind around your head. But we've heard that, so we're already working on a change for a taller windshield. But like Clockworks, they have 6 different heights out. You know, I hate to say you get a bike and you got to change the windshield, but if the windshield bothers you that much, there is a solution. Come up here, we have an adjustable brake lever, so you can adjust it for ergonomics. The clutch side is not adjustable because you guys remember back to hydraulic and you ran an adjustable clutch lever. That works great. It sucks for the clutch because when you adjust that and dial that back down, your plates don't separate enough, and it winds up making you wear the clutch out sooner. So that's why we did not do an adjustable clutch lever. That clutch has to release at the point where we designed it to release at. But you do, like I said, you have an ergonomic up here to adjust it where you want. In the handlebars, you got 4 bolts right here. You loosen them up, you got 27 degrees of adjustability. No more taking half the fairing apart to adjust where you want your handlebars. I like mine in line with the fork, so that's where I have mine set. You'll notice with all our buttons and stuff, we went to a more robust type of situation. These are basically Pan America hand controls. We made sure they're big and large so it's easy to work with gloves, so nothing dainty about that. These do not lift up, they push down. You have a phone charger here or a USB port for whatever you want. That is powered, unlike Rushmore. It was not powered, a stupid thing. We eliminated a gas tank top, so this is your gas tank right here. I can't tell you over the years how many I set up on a gas station and rode away and lost it. Come to the engine. It's the 121 CVO engine. VVT, we went with VVT because that variable valve timing has more low-end torque. The benefit of this engine, this bike will do 120. That's what you're going to see on the speedometer. It actually do 122. We had that variation, so you made sure that you get 120. You will not see 122 on the speedometer. It'll be 120. If you're in 5th gear, it'll stay at 120 for 15 seconds, and then it's going to drop back down. If you're in 6th gear, you can run 120 miles an hour as long as you want to run it. The difference in that, so with this engine, there's a 139 foot-pound of torque. That's 24% more torque than what you're riding right now. 115 horsepower, that's 14% more horsepower than what you ever had. This bike will do 0 to 60 in 4.46 seconds, 0 to 100 in 12 seconds. To kind of give you an idea, in 2025, it took us 19 seconds to get to 100 miles an hour. So you can see the difference in that.
Depends on how fat you were.
What's that?
Depends on how fat you are. It took a little
while. Not with this bike. You know, when you ride it, yeah, ride it in here. It's a demo bike. It's been dropped. I've dropped it. But if you want to get the true features of it, you need to get the bike out of this parking lot. We don't design bikes for come rodeoing. So, you know, if you're looking for a bike for rodeoing, sorry to disappoint you, but that was very low on my priority. My priority was making a good, awesome work bike. Coming back to the seat, we eliminated the need for a seat riser. This seat has 3 adjustments. You take these bolts out and it adjusts there. Also, like you guys running seat risers, you didn't think about the front, so you raise the back up and the front goes down and you're pinching your wiring harness over a period of time because we had a cheap wiring harness, when in fact it was your fault because you smashed the wiring harness. So I made sure that you can adjust that also. So adjustable seat. Moving back to the saddlebags, they got a little bit larger. That was, you know, something that they asked, hey, what do you think about? And I'm like, unfortunately these days with all the stuff you guys got to carry, more room is nicer. Moving back to the, back up here. So because of the larger rotors and a slight change in the frame, what you're currently riding right now is 31 degrees lean angle both sides. This bike has 33 degrees to the left and 34 degrees to the right. The biggest thing I noticed when riding like cone patterns is I was to a point where I'm used to locked out and I could go a lot farther. So you're going to have a much, much tighter turn radius. I haven't ridden enough to know if that's going to help with the spring. That was one thing I asked for, and that ain't never going to change, guys. We are the only manufacturer that has never, ever been named in a lawsuit over their side stand. So when you look from product integrity and liability, that's never going to change. So stay with the magnet, that's your best choice. Moving back to the tour pack. So this is the new tour pack. It comes with 4 open ports back here. So radar, laptop, I had, for radars, I had custom, and I had stalker sent to the PDC. I also had PVP and SETCOM sent to the PDC. I had a printer from Somerville, a radio from Somerville, the e-ticket writer, everything we plugged up in here. So now all you have to do is just run what wiring you want. You don't have to tap into nothing anymore. You got 4 open ports back here. You'll notice it doesn't have a battery because the bikes you guys are riding is pulling 28 amps. This bike is pulling 58 amps. There's no need for a second battery. If you want to do it, you figure out how to do it, but there's really no need for it. Charleston County, where I retired at, we have never ever run spare batteries and we've never had a problem with it. So it all depends. The problem is, in the past you could go to 10 different dealerships and that tour pack was wired 10 different ways. And 9 times out of 10 it was wired wrong. So from the dealers, we take all the liability off the dealers because this bike comes from New York as you see it. No changes, no nothing. The only thing that's different, you can get it in 16 different colors. When it comes to the suspension on the bike, you'll notice over here, we put the knob on the outside. I've got it cranked up as far as it will go. So the front suspension stayed the same. That's dual bend valving by Shoei. I wanted Olin suspension since we're in partner with them, the King of Baggers. That was going to put the cost of the bike up too much. So what they did is they gave us an upgraded suspension from Showa. So you get a spanner with each bike. So now you can adjust rebound. And then you go down here to this gold knob on the bottom and you can adjust dampening. Oh, wow. I got this suspension set very, very tight because I know cops, the majority of you are only going to ride it in cone patterns, so that's what it's set for. But you can set that for the weight of the rider. There's going to be a chart in the owner's manual. You can set it for the performance. I like riding bikes fast, so I never have my suspension nice and cushy. I always want my suspension stiff because that's when you're going to get the most response out of it. You also get, which was a nice thing we didn't even ask for, they give you the CVO air intake, which is a high flow air intake, and you get the CVO mufflers. So basically, somebody said it earlier, you're familiar with the CVOST that came out 2 years ago. This is basically what you're looking at. You're looking at basically a $48,000 bike if you were to buy it as a civilian. I'll get into pricing. For the first time ever, we reps have been able to give an MSRP. In the past, that was taboo. All the pricing is done through the dealership. It is still done through the dealership, but I can tell you that we got this bike. We're out the door. At the most you should be paying for it is 30,000 some change or 31,000 some change, depending on the color. I promise you, BMW will not beat the price on this bike. That was our #1 goal, that we give you the best that we could come up with, and you would be paying very low price. So now I'll move into the electronics part of it. So there's no more key. The only key you got locks this, locks your tour pack, and locks this. One push down over here, that turns the electronics on, and push it like that. So this bike you have 3 ride modes. You got sport mode, you got rain mode, you got road mode, and you have an A mode. So on the A mode, like I went in and I customized it to make the throttle as responsive as it can be. Make the ABS not as responsive as it can be, so you can play around with that. We gave you your own police screen. I made sure it was cop proof. There's a little badge right there so you can realize, okay, what screen do I need to be? So once you go, this is basically your command center right here. So this has everything. Now keep in mind, the Helix mode, there's 3 different types of screens you can have. And you have the 3 screens in here, plus you have your own specific mode. Right now, this is in touring. If you change it to sport or you change it to cruising, all it does is basically, it just changes the screen around to what you're seeing. It comes standard with AM, FM radio and navigation. So, if you can Bluetooth your phone to this, you can Bluetooth to your helmet. If you want, you're running a regular mounted radio, you can have it come out the speakers if you want. So we made the controls very simple. Push in, that turns on all your lights. Front, no more is it left for front or right for front. We took that out. It's simply front, rear. The flash button, what that does, that's going to change. So right now it's in blocking. The reason blocking is what we call the slow mode. Pursuit is what we call the fast mode. The reason it's in blocking mode is I had this bike configured that when the bike comes to a stop and it goes over on the side stand at 8 degrees is critical, then it automatically will slow down the blocking. So like every traffic stop, it would go from pursuit down to blocking. Now, if I took off after I got above 10 miles an hour, the bike would automatically go to the pursuit mode. So there's different functionalities in this bike that you as an agency, you determine what you want. So you got that. Now, if you're directing traffic or to crash or whatever, and you want some directionals, you press the arrow button one time, and it's showing you up here that it's taking that traffic, it's giving it to the left. You push it again, it's giving it to the right. You push it out again, it's doing center out, and you push it again, and you're back to your lights. From the factory, it's going to come red and blue. Like in South Carolina, we have to be blue or white. So up here, it can be programmed blue or white, red and white, or red and blue. On the side, same thing, blue and white, red and blue. In the back, because you only have 3 light heads at each light, so it either has to be red and amber, blue and amber, or red and blue. So we give you that choice. This arrow button is kind of important. It does a couple functions. So if you're doing an escort at low light or at nighttime and you don't want to blind all the bikes behind you, just hold it down for 3 seconds. Puts it in escort mode. It tells you right here, it's cop proof. You're in escort mode, so you know what you're doing. And you shut all the lights off back here. I know like that's a big thing for us in Charleston, but we pay a lot of money to have the dealerships try to configure that out. I'm not going to name dealerships, but I've had bikes at dealerships for 6 months. Guys, if I want my bike on the road, I want the guys riding on the road. Literally, if this bike got to the dealership at 9 o'clock in the morning, you can have it the same day. You hold that back down 3 seconds, and that takes you back out of that. It's big in South Carolina. I haven't seen it a lot of places, so I had cruise mode, or we call it parade mode. So you hold that button down for a long 10 seconds. We wanted to make sure it was a deliberate action, so you didn't hit something up here, make it do something you didn't want to do, but you hold it for 10 seconds, and it puts it in cruise mode or parade mode. It can be all red, all blue. These have to stay white because you only have 3 lights in a light head. If we went to all blue up here, then when you went to takedown lights, it would be blue. I didn't think that would be a good idea. To get out of that again, it's a long hold. If you want, like if you got your lights going and you want to take down, all you do is you hold the front for 3 seconds and you put the lights in the takedown. Another, and we didn't even think about this. This is how good, I love bragging about our engineering team because they did such a phenomenal job. They came up, so over here, this is what we call your flash to pass, or this is your headlight. You pull it up and that gives you your high beam. So if you're going down the road and you're coming into an intersection, you push down on that one time, and for 7 seconds, whatever light pattern you're in will automatically change, and whatever siren tone you in will automatically change for 7 seconds as you go through that intersection, and then it will revert back to where you had it at. So you can have the headlight wig-wag with the blocking, or you can have it wig-wag with the fast, which is the pursuit, or you can have it wig-wag with the intersection mode. That's your choice how you want it done. If you want the stealth mode, in stealth mode, you just hold your trigger switch down for 3 seconds. And a little stealth bomber comes up. It kills all your lights. You notice the screen dim. To get out of that, either hit your lights or tap it again, and you got that back. This right here for your siren, I'm not going to hit it, but the siren, this turns it on. This changes the up to it. The plus and minus, that's for your AM FM radio. This one right here to push in, that doesn't do anything except if I was moving right now, every time I hit that, it would capture my speed. Unlike the other one where you got to hold it, you push it. Every time you push it, it's putting your speed in there digitally. To get out of it, 3 seconds. You hold that 3 seconds, and it take the speed capture back out of it. Now to get to the functionality of the bike. So when the bike gets to the dealership now, everything is done with the digital technician. There's no more doing anything. They take this side cover off, they plug up the digital technician. The DT is how dealers tell what's wrong with the bike. You have to be an authorized dealer to get a DT unless you have 25 motors or more and you have your own shop. Then you can purchase what we call the Fleet 2, DT2. And that does the same thing, except it doesn't do all the pushes that Harley Davidson does. I mean, that's not fair to the dealers taking that out of their hands. So, but the digital technician is done. They hook this bike up to that. And then you as the agency, you come in and there's like 20 different functionalities that you're going to say, I want this, I want this, I want that. Unlike some other manufacturers who all the technologies in their lights like ours, they charge you to turn stuff on. We're not doing that. We said, no, whatever you want, you're paying $30,000 for the bike. You have whatever you want. Now, that being said, if 2 or 3 months later, you're like, I don't like this functionality, or I wish I'd have done that, then it's going to be up to the dealer you go to. If they want to charge you the 5 minutes it takes to take that cover off, and the 5 minutes it takes to go into the DT to say enable or disable, that's up to the dealer. We can't control that. So you go in and that's how everything's done. Even the horn, that's no more pulling the pink pin out of this one and putting it in there. It's all done in the digital technician. So like I said, someone from the agency goes in and says, I want all this done, and you have more than one bike, they can save it under the agency's name. So when you get more bikes, they go back in, hit that same button, and all the bikes are programmed together. To give you an idea of some of the functionality, this bike is set up so when the siren and the lights are going and the bike goes over 8 degrees, it has nothing to do with the kickstand, but when it goes over 8 degrees is what the kickstand is, the siren will automatically shut off for you. So say you jumped off in a foot pursuit, or you had to get off in an intersection real quick and clear traffic. We've all been there where you're trying to communicate, nobody can hear you over the siren. This siren will automatically shut off. Or you can configure it to every time you turn your lights off, the siren will automatically shut off. So those are functionalities that you pick. You can sync your lights to your siren. So if you sync it lights to siren, so if it's in the blocking mode, it's going to be automatically revert to the whale. If it's in the pursuit, it will convert over to the yelp. Some other things that you can do with it, like I said, you can change the colors of it. All right, you can, but the wig-wag and the headlight, like I said, that's all done in the functionality. You just sit there with whoever the tech is and say, this is what we want, this is what we don't want, and you get it. Like I said, the performance of this bike, you got to ride it. You know, and some people that I've talked to said, yeah, it looks a lot better in person than it does in the pictures. You also have what we call these willy wings over here, so you can control air coming to you. Along with that, you'll notice it looks a little bit different up front. This bike has a radiator on it, so it is liquid cooled now. It's still air cooled, but liquid cooled, and it has a radiator thermostatically fan on it that channels the air from the rear cylinder, where the majority of the heat is on the rider, down to the rear tire, kind of like the cool flow fan did. Now it's not, you don't have to add that cool flow fan. It is already right here for you. The amp The amp is put back up here. This is a whole design metal part. You'll notice like some people's like, man, I wish I had more room back here. Keep in mind, this bike was engineered for 120 miles an hour. The box has to be over the wheel, not aft of it, because that's going to affect the way the bike handles at high speed. Why didn't we put a bigger, taller windshield on it? 120 miles an hour. You put a bigger windshield on it, it doesn't take a rocket science to figure out. That all eliminates, not a lot, but it plays in the performance of it. I know from when I went out to Arizona to test it that I worked with Kyle Wyman to make sure I got a good start. This bike will come with your front end, you'll pull it up first and second gear, no problem. I didn't want that. I wanted a good start. If you're trying to get up to speed real quick and you're using a clutch to shift, you're screwing up. Once you get the bike going, it's actually better for the transmission not to use the clutch. A little bit of pressure under that thing, roll off the throttle real quick, and upshift. So all that factors in, but trust me, this bike will do 122 miles an hour. You're only going to see 120 on it. And like I said, about the price of it, around $30,000 and some change, and that's all white, all black, plus freight, or $31,000 and change, and that's anything that's considered all white or all black is a special color. And the reason that's considered special is all the parts are taken from York, sent to Tomahawk, Wisconsin, painted and sent back, so that has like a 5 to 8 week lead time, so that puts some money into it. Like I said, I know I've done a lot. There is a 11-page feature guide. It's on HDNet, so the dealers have it. We made 2 videos and we assigned it to service managers. They have to watch this video. It can be watched by anybody in the dealership, but we know, let's face it, I've gone places and we've had stealth mode on bikes since 2014 and people don't know about it because our dealers don't do us a good service and didn't explain the explanation of the bike. We wanted to make sure this didn't happen with that, so we made sure that every dealer, they have to watch this training. If they don't, they get dinged big time from Harley Davidson. But that features guide, if you want that, get with me, give me an email. I'll send it to you. It's done very nice. It's in color pictures, and it goes over every function I went over, and it also went over the importance of it. The other thing, right now, if there's upgrades from Harley Davidson, if there's like, mainly on the pleasure side, radios, but if there's something that they've done for the engine or something like that, all that is pushed through the digital technician. You have to go to the dealer, they plug it up, same thing that enables this bike, and then it gets pushed through that. You don't have to do that anymore. It's your home, hook this bike up to Wi-Fi, and it gets all the updates from your home, from your office. As long as the bike is hooked to Wi-Fi, you can update anything that Harley's pushed out for it, especially now that you have AM, FM radio. Any questions?
Bag guards, are they going to offer the bag guards?
Keep in mind, this is a 26, so we haven't seen 26, what we call P&A, parts and accessories come out yet. I'm hoping that there will be bag guards for it. I told them a lot of agencies want to add lights. With that, talking about lights, I mean, me personally, I think this bike is lit up adequately. In South Carolina, we've had 3 troopers hit in the last 2 months, one of them fatal. I think we all agree that there's more lights on cars than it is motorcycles, so to me that proves my theory that more lights is not safer. That's a myth. It has to do with you, the officer. How'd you park the bike? Where'd you park the bike? Situational awareness. Stop relying so much on lights. I would say use the bike like it is. With that being said, if you wanted to add lights, I made sure you could add lights, but there's one caveat to it. These are all Code 3 lights. These are new Code 3 lights. It's not even out on the market yet. So if you say, well, Code 3 sucks, I don't like that. That's stuff in the past, man. They've listened to us. Everything with Code 3 got pushed out by my old boss, who's no longer with Harley, and the boss at Code 3, which is no longer there, because neither one of those ask anybody on our side or ask anybody on their side about lights for a motorcycle. Things are changing, guys. They're listening. But if you want to add lights, I can tell you, you can add lights. Code 3 lights will work. We didn't test anything else. I've gotten with engineering, not to say that Code 3, Whaling won't, Sound Off won't, Federal won't. I don't know. That's something you guys will have to find out. Now we're trying to give you something that is much, much more affordable with a hell of a lot more options, much more power, much more endurance. Handability on this bike was amazing. I mean, it's gone up and down over so much stuff at Arizona Proving Grounds. But I would say before you go adding a lot of stuff on it, try the bike first. See if it's going to work for you. And especially with the 4 open ports, that should eliminate. Really, there's no reason, if you want the dealer to run that stuff, but it's not that hard to run it because you don't have to tap in anything. The power is there for you. But like I said, please get with me. I can get you signed up, ride it in here, ride it out on the road. I just need your license unless I've signed you up before and you got that little black Harley card. If you take a test ride, we got a cool coin for the Road Glide on it. You know, yeah, I'm going to be riding it, but that's not what I'm here for. This bike is for you guys. If I'm riding and you want to ride it, tell me, I'll get off the bike and let you ride it. That's the important thing. Just, you got to see the difference in this bike other than just looking at it right now.
Fob. I got a fob accessory now.
There is a fob to it. Yeah, I don't use the fob because I forget to put it in tow mode all the time, and I get where I'm going. I done killed the battery. So yeah, you do have a fob because, like I said, the only thing secures this bike is locking it up right there. So yeah, it comes standard with a fob. These are the relays up under the seat here for the lighting, if you're wondering what that is. Yep.
Like, I know for us, we have a no compete with weight, so we can't run code through our bikes. Is there?
Well, I would say I would revisit that because now you're not adding nothing. It comes from Harley Davidson, so that's
Right.
totally separate.
Okay.
So I would say revisit that because you have no control over that. Yeah, they just got to realize you have no control over it. You cannot get this bike any other way.
Okay.
So-
So they're not going to sell one with everything else, just the light's not there? Okay.
As you see it is the way it comes, and that's the only way we will sell it.
Okay.
You can get it without the light at all.
Oh yeah, all black. Yeah, all solid black.
Hey Rob, for those of us that like to test the limits of the crash
What's that?
for those of us that like to test the limits of the crash
This is crash guard. Everything in touring is the low profile. When we did, keep in mind, these engine guards are designed to protect the engine. It's not for the glider. These are all hollow. Impact tested. These things hold up. So I've had this one turtled all the way over. Nothing touches.
Okay, that was my biggest thing.
And your heated grips are right here, so they don't break off.
I like that. Did you guys put stick it out or reach it?
You would have to be careful. Yeah, they were all